I'll bring Leslie up in a second. And just for clarity, Leslie was with Ainsworth, an amazing North American 3000 tech partner and customer of ours, so I want to hear her perspective. But just a little bit on XOI, based in Nashville, Tennessee. Has anyone ever had a good time in Nashville? Let's go. It's one of those places you usually get a sly smile. All the best asset apps come from Nashville, Tennessee. Is that right, Steven? That's right. There's some good ones out of Nashville. We started the company with really kind of solving a problem for the contractors that service your buildings. What we realized is that for 2 decades, they invested in field service management software to run their business. And then when a technician got to a job site, it was good luck. You maybe have a little bit of a work order, maybe have a little bit of intelligence, but good luck. And so what we really had was well-run businesses in the field service provider side. They got rid of Excel spreadsheets and they got dispatch and they did all these great things. But the problem was the job sites where everything happens. It's where uptime's delivered. It's what you guys care about, right? You want it to be efficient, cost effective, and for it to run. And you don't want to pay a lot of money making that happen. And so we realized as a business, like if we're going to help contractors win, we have to focus on this green space that is ignored completely. We have to be able to serve you guys. And we thought a lot about how do we help contractors serve asset owners in a more meaningful way. And so we deployed smart glasses. Dumbest decision ever, but we learned a lot. You guys remember when everyone was a glass hole? Like 10, 12 years ago, right? Walking around, like tripping over people, et cetera. We put thousands of smart glasses on technicians on rooftops like this one. I wouldn't be standing here if we still did that today. I love the laughs. $2,000 pair of smart glasses, keep it charged, connect it to a hotspot, and don't break it. We were early startup, and I remember we had to buy a $100,000 glue machine because guys kept breaking the PCBs, and I had like $105,000 in my bank account. And I was like, honey, I don't know if this thing's gonna last. We ended up getting there. But if we wouldn't have spent so much time on the job site with technicians, we wouldn't have learned some really valuable lessons about everything that's broken and how every stakeholder, you being the ultimate customer, but also distribution and OEMs, like they really cared about uptime. And if we could serve technicians really well and invest in them, there was an opportunity for field service providers to be much, much better. And so we spent the better part of a decade. Today we have 60,000 commercial HVAC, commercial kitchen, refrigeration technicians using XOI. And what's becoming apparent is that there's a real connectivity with awesome companies like Fexa. And by the way, we have an opportunity to work with a lot of companies like Fexa. You are partnered with an organization that is nimble, which is critical in this time. So super critical. There's a lot of big companies out here that would be considered Fexa competitors that are trying to move huge ships. And these guys are able to get innovation out really quickly, and they're thinking about it the right way. So you're partnering with the right company, and we're really fortunate to be partnering with them as well. But the opportunity exists to say, how do contractors, great ones like Ainsworth, how do they deliver best-in-class uptime when they're on site? You guys have this diverse offering of contractors for your building. Ultimately, you want them to be on time, be prepared. Kurt talked about a skilled trades gap. We got some 21-year-old that doesn't know what he's doing. But then we got a 50-year-old too that, gosh, they've been doing this for 30 years, but they don't seem like they know what they're doing either, right? We have this balance of like, not just age means great. And so how do we democratize that information? How do we help you get more efficient and effective? And how do we deliver solutions that together are much stronger than they're apart? And so we're going to continue to announce some really cool things between us, and I know we'll continue to work together, but you guys are working with an awesome company. I wanted to bring up Leslie, so you got the contractor's perspective as they're leaning in to this age of AI on the job site. What does that mean for you? What you should expect around assets, if you have them, right? That's one of the biggest problems on the slide. Like, how do we get accurate asset information? How do we actually leverage it, learn about it, use it for capital planning, ESG, all those things? And so I'm going to invite Leslie up, let her do an introduction. I'm going to give her a hand myself because it's awesome. I had to give you 2 minutes when you see the idiot with the salmon shirt and the tattoos. You're like, who is this guy Kurt brought on stage? So hopefully we built a little credibility with you. But she's the one that has the most to offer because she's doing this every single day. And so I've got and of course I walked up here without my phone, which has all my questions on it. So let me grab that real quick. I was like, I'll be good and not have my phone.
So maybe I'll do a little bit of an
yeah.
intro to myself. So my name's Leslie LaRosa. I work with the Ainsworth team as the Senior Vice President of Strategic Accounts. So what that means is I get to work with amazing large customers with complex distributed networks coast to coast, really solving problems and really having a seat at the table and translating those problems internally and finding solutions to optimize our current workflows to match with our partners. So I work with an organization called Ainsworth. To Aaron's point, we are one of North America's leading integrated facility service providers. And what makes us different is that we are self-performing coast to coast, multi-trade, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and more. So happy to be here, and thank you so much, Aaron and Kurt, for the opportunity.
Awesome. Kurt, do you want to show a video first? All right, we got that teed up. Give you a little sense of what we're working on, just to get the gears turning. Or do I click it? You want me to click it?
Yeah, there you go.
XOI video, there it is. One more for play, maybe? Or? Nope. Oh, here. So there's a light music here. I kind of show what you're looking at. So as you think about CMMS application delivering a work order, one of the really fascinating ways we're thinking of and working with customers to say, what if there was consistency from every contractor no matter what? A lot of times for contractors, I'll let Leslie speak to this as well, it's I'm in my FSM, and I've got up to 9. Do you realize that technicians that work on your buildings have 9 applications they're working on at any given time, which is wild. It was a problem we're trying to solve. So technicians didn't take that job to go, oh, let me wonder how many apps I can open while I'm on a job site. And so a lot of times they see yet another app as an opportunity. And so what you see here is what we just deployed last week. Kurt, thank you for being there in Nashville at our annual event, where we're leveraging AI with trust as guardrails. What you guys have talked about here in terms of building trust with users is really important. So you'll see there's prompting on top. We got a live video. A technician is talking through. We're pulling make, model, serial number and enriching the asset in real time as they're talking through it. So you have and I know that went by pretty quick. Just give you 20 seconds more if you want to play it one more time. Effectively, you have prompting, visual application, machine learning, data science happening in the background. What you don't have in this case is ask a question and we'll give you an answer. Well, there's an analysis of another company out in the market today that is like, we'll solve all your commercial HVAC problems. And did some exhaustive testing with one of our customers, and it was right about 25% of the time. How many technicians, facilities managers, blue-collar people, I started the company because I am one, that's why I get to be the CEO and have all these tattoos and look like an idiot up here, but how many do you think would deal with a wrong answer and ever use it again? Hands down. The first time a technician gets a hallucination, they're out for a long time. And so what we said is, hey, how do we start to guide things like, hey, have you checked this? Have you checked that? Just talk to us. We're bringing things in. It's in the guardrails of trust. I know how Fexa is looking through it. I know that's what you'll see today. We're thinking of it the same way for technicians, is how do we start to illustrate some of these things, get them used to it, and not blow up trust in the meantime. And I know that's what our customers want to see too, because as much as a demo might look cool, in application with a 57-year-old guy on a rooftop, he's like, I knew it, the government was listening, and he takes his phone and throws it across the room, right? So on that, thank you for, I looked at Kurt and I go, I made the video for Kurt and I didn't play it. So thank you for that. He gave me the look. He's like, play the video. So Leslie, how are you seeing expectations for your customers and operators increase? And how is technology and AI playing a role in your strategy to meet those expectations?
So I think like everybody, we're definitely seeing a shift in what customers expect from us today. We're all way more informed and knowledgeable, and our customers are way more sophisticated than they've ever been. And so, they're looking to us for immediate answers. So there's no tolerance for delay, right? I want to know what your techs are doing. I want to understand, what's happening on the job site real time. Our customers are increasingly pressured to meet their own client KPIs and deliver on compliance. And, they're looking to us to sort of match that pace. And so real-time information, when are we getting that work order, when are we dispatching a technician, when is the tech on site, all of those life cycle touch points, our customers are expecting to get updates on those in real time. And I think, they want to be brought into the job site. They want to know, right? Show me pictures, show me videos, show me what you've identified, get those recommendations in. We can't wait a week for a recommendation. We want our quotes more real time. So it's that sort of immediate information or access to information and recommendations that's really, we're really being pressured for. So I think that's sort of the first thing. The second thing is a lot of our customers are really wanting to partner with us to be, their strategic advisor, right? So where it's not good enough to just communicate what's happened on site or what's happening on site. It's more about what's going to happen on my site, right? A month down the road or a quarter down the road, or help me with my capital planning and help me make those, real strategic decisions like we're talking about. Yes, I want reactive information, but I want to be really strategic as well. And they're really looking for us to come with those insights and with those plans and really partner with them to help them achieve what their goals are. So, I think those are the two things, tactical and strategic. And I think really where, partners like XOI and AI are really supporting us is it's not just a bolt-on, right? We're not just bolting on AI or bolting on another app. We're really taking this AI and embedding it through our entire workflow, right? To give our customers that visibility, our own people and our customers that visibility into what's happening, and really has transformed how we're doing business and what we're able to deliver to our clients at multiple levels, right? So it's getting much more complex, and we're getting really challenged to think outside of the box and really support our customers in a different way.
One of my several favorite stories, but how many of you in this room have gotten a invoice for 12 grand with "I came and fixed it" as the notes? All the hands should go up, right? And you're like, seriously? And you're calling and wondering what's up. And I know you talk about photos and videos. So my favorite stories have been AI summaries. Can you talk a little bit about what the impact has been getting more, as an example, released a couple years ago?
Yeah, for sure. So AI summaries are just, one small piece of what, XOI technology is doing to sort of improve our output to our customer and our technician experience. AI summaries at this point are really, they're shaving time. We've heard a lot about time, right? And allowing people to do really what they love. So it allows our techs to do what they love and stop being administrators, right? So you're not wrong. 5 applications, 10 applications to get through one service event. Our technicians are frustrated, and they want to be fixing. They want to be fixing and creating really great environments for you, and they want to be spending time with you, not doing administration work. So the XOI AI summaries have really expedited that. It shaves like 10 to 15 minutes off work orders and quotes for our technicians, which is excellent. And again, it's not about reducing staff. There's a war on labor right now for sure. We need to keep our technicians happy and keep them engaged. And this allows them to do more of what they love and spend more time with you. At the same time, giving you guys way more robust information about what's happened on site and what our recommendations are. So it's been a game changer.
What other things have you guys looked at around AI, maybe not XOI related, just in general? And how do you think it changes the change management issue with technician, or how it impacts rather?
I think the biggest shift for us on AI really has been centered around our technicians and what happens in the field and how we serve our customers. So, we're all in this with XOI, and I think it has been a game changer. But we do talk about like app fatigue with techs, and they don't like it. And I think the biggest thing for us is, how we approach. We talked a little bit about adoption earlier. How do you get technicians engaged? How do you get them comfortable using another tool? And I think for us the pivot point was showing them things like the AI summary and showing them how this is not just a sort of a corporately pushed down tool that we're asking them to utilize, but it's a tool that really serves them at the same time gives me a good output for my client as well, to deliver more of that strategic information. But it's just a massive game changer for us.
One of the things that we've always heard over the years, your guys' impact, or your teams, I should say, I know a lot of executives in this room, telling a technician you appreciate something is the biggest change management tool for FSPs, more than their boss. So you saying, hey, that content helped me, exceed that NTE because my CFO is in Kansas City or whatever. This is the visibility we needed. Or man, that summary was a lot better. Bob all of a sudden is a spelling grammar king. Yeah, that's incredible, and so that impact, we've always said to field service providers, like, hey, when you're serving the customer in a meaningful new way, that's what's in it for them, because they're like little CEOs of their own domains, right?
Like 100% they are. And I think, for them, it was very important for us, again, not just a corporately push down tool, but really engage our technicians and allow them to have a voice in what we're trying to accomplish here. So, our ability to do that and pull technicians together coast to coast, cross border, and we meet every month with technicians on AI technology and what's working with them and what's not working for them. So they really have a seat at the table. And when they have that seat at the table and they understand what we're doing and they see sort of their feedback translating into optimizations and working with great partners like XOI, like it just solidifies for them why this is of value.
Yeah, which ultimately gets better first-time fix rates for the people
in this room,
1,000,000%. More efficiency.
Yes, yeah.
Let's switch to the asset side a little bit. I know that this group, likely writ large, struggles with the same things field service providers do around getting accurate asset data. Then what do I do once I have it? That type of thing. How have you been leaning into that process for the benefit of the operators?
Yeah, for us, I think it's twofold. In my role dealing with some of our larger clients that are, upwards of 1,000, 2,000, we have one customer with 5,000 locations coast to coast. Historically synthesizing all of that data to provide something to our client that's meaningful, that they can make decisions on, it used to take weeks, if not months, right? We've got hundreds of techs coast to coast providing inconsistent data, inconsistent inputs. And so what we've leveraged XOI and AI to do is really standardize that input framework for our technicians to make it really, really easy and intuitive as they're going about their day. So it's easy for our techs, and then it's easy for me selfishly to pivot and sort of synthesize all of that data up into something that's meaningful. And I think what we're leveraging AI for is, taking that administration work off of our technicians, right? Making it easy for them so they can do what they love. And so even if we do have gaps in the data, even if there is some enrichment that we need, XOI through AI enables that for us, filling in that gap, right? Pulling in OEM information, giving us life expectancy, talking to us about warranty, and really enriching all of that information. So my team no longer has to spend weeks or months on that data. We're able to quickly pivot to capital recommendations and have, again, those meaningful discussions with our customers that really help them make smarter decisions and more confident decisions.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, and I think in context of our relationship with Fexa, being able to provide background partnership in the same way, you guys have a source of truth in what you're using with Fexa today. And we've been fortunate to really focus on mission critical assets. And if we can be a supporting partner as you guys continue, I know, to develop amazing capital plan tools as well. Our vision as a company is that Ainsworth is easy to work with Fexa on support of you. So that as you think about contractors that you want to come service your stuff, you know that they got the right data, they're capturing accurate data, we're leveraging those tools, and it's seamless for companies like you to leverage.
Yeah, and one of the things that, again, expectations are changing, and we got to be creative every day on how we work with our clients. And for you folks, you're dealing with hundreds of vendors, right, who all use their own CMMS system and have their own internal process. And I think, what's worked for us is, when customers allow us to have a seat at their table and have these meaningful discussions and build one standardized workflow, right, through your vendors and your partners, right into your CMMS system. I think it works really well. We've had a lot of success with integration, so it's super seamless. Where you're dispatching a work order through Fexa, that's auto popping in our system. You're getting constant updates back and forth, where our techs are, what the updates are on these work orders. We're capturing all of that asset information consistently. You're not waiting for me on, give me a summary of all my assets and all my buildings anymore. You have that data real time, and it's the same data that we have, and it's constantly being refreshed, right, real time. So the more we can partner, with folks like you, I think the better successful we are in speaking that sort of shared language of data, and it really just helps expedite solutioning on both sides.
Yeah. Another thing I would say that's not a plug for XOI, but I would encourage you as operators to think about contractors that care about what happens on your job site. And I know the hesitation or desire to go 2 trucks in a truck's pretty cheap versus, gosh, I've got more capital plan ESG kind of pressure coming down corporately than I've ever had before. I hope I work with a contractor that is going to work with my CMMS provider to be able to really deliver those insights. And it's not a one-time thing. So you can do one capital plan and go, oh, I got all my assets, I got them all there, but performance is what really matters. What's the application? What's the performance over time? And so working with contractors, using tools like that, XY or not, I think is really critical to the future of you getting the data you need, per Kurt's slide about data being a really critical piece to be able to make really good decisions around AI. I think I got a 5-minute or shut up. Oh, okay. I just translated that to shut up soon. Any questions for Leslie or any reflections on contractors as a whole, where they're spending their dollars investing for us? Kurt, thank you.
Go.
Leslie, you were talking about, okay, you got a big customer. I think I assumed in the scenario you were talking about, you've got 100% of their locations.
Correct.
And they want a picture of their assets.
Absolutely, yes.
Even in that world, which I think is the best case scenario for the folks in this room, where you got one vendor self-performing, they should have a clear view of assets. That's not the case. Go a little bit deeper on what's so complicated about providing that information back to your.
Well, I think it used to be way more complicated when we weren't leveraging AI the way that we are today. And we had this sort of mishmashed, fragmented process across our business. And so, our technicians on the East Coast were gathering data in the way that they thought, was excellent, and it was very different than the people on the West Coast. So, to be able to, as a centralized group, go out and grab all of that asset data for 1,000 locations and synthesize all of that into something that's meaningful with all of the gaps and all of the, it was a tremendous lift. Right, just a tremendous lift. Like having to go in and do our own research, a lot of friction internally. Having to validate data with technicians who had already moved on. It was a real problem. And so now, having that foundation where all of our techs are really following the same workflow and putting those inputs in that are actually driving the outcome that we're all looking for, is sort of one master overview of what's happening with their assets and the life cycle of their assets, just makes it a lot easier for us. Right? So we've got standardized data, and then overlaying that AI, it helps us fill in those gaps, right? Gaps, we can't read rating plates, we can't do certain things, and the AI will go and pull in those gaps so that we're only really focused on the outliers, right? But, we used to have to do all of this manually. So what is the average life expectancy based on the OEM? What's the warranty period? So overlaying all of that with our condition, it was weeks and weeks of effort. So, and not inspiring work for the people that were doing it. So I think now having the data in a much more streamlined manner present to us, so our folks can really focus on those outliers and solutioning, right? Then giving you what we think those priorities and plans should be for you and your organization, just makes it a lot easier. Then we can pivot to those conversations, having those good conversations with you, versus having my team sort of manually go through the data for weeks, which is, again, it's outdated by the time that we've actually gone through everything, because we've had multiple service events in between that time that are changing things.
Yeah, the ultimate leverage you get beyond that, just to add to it, is you have the power in this room. You control the ecosystem. Trane, Daikin, Carrot, they all want your business. Distributors want to be able to empower FSPs to buy parts to get your business. And so with a clear set of the data, your ability to leverage consumable pricing, replacement for capital plan pricing at scale, is much different than our average customer, when they come see us, have 8 to 9% asset registration across FSPs. Their whole product is uptime. That's what they sell. That's what this industry sells. 8 to 9% of the assets are in the system. That's a problem. If I don't know what my assets are, especially when HVAC, commercial kitchen, those kind of things make up 50% of my energy spend, 50% of my capital cost, typically 40, 50% on a new build, and I don't even know what assets those are. Yeah. And so it really unlocks a lot more kind of margin for you as asset owners to think, if I had all this information and I had confidence, like Leslie and the team does, to go, I can tell you based on this location when this asset's likely to fail, and for your capital planning needs, you can make those decisions. It's huge, huge unlock for you guys.
So Leslie, I have a question for you. So with your technicians and the technology that you're using, are you also using like the Fexa technology as far as the asset kind of module or database? So like if I put all my asset information into the system, now I'm relying on my vendors to be able to tag those assets as they're going in, to put that information in there, and then help me make recommendations on a one-for-one asset basis. How has that been working for you, or are you using that model to help your customers get a better understanding of should I repair, should I replace, or
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's probably one of the single biggest opportunities for folks in this room.
Have you been reading our roadmap?
Yeah.
I may have some insider knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem for us, right? We've got a bunch of this data, but now what do we do with it? And then, we get pushback from our vendor partners of, I'm already doing all of this work for
Yeah.
you, and now you want me to break it down even further and put my proposals into an asset by asset segment to make these decisions.
Yeah.
And, how do we continue to partner with our vendors to
Well,
do those?
I think it's a really solid question, and I think that's where the opportunity lies. So, like I said, you guys have hundreds of different vendors that you're using. It's easier for us because we're one and we're self-performing, so I can gather all of that information. But what we have done with some of our larger customers that do utilize platforms like Fexa, and this is where that transparency and collaboration is very important, right? So if we have a partner or a client who is just sort of pushing process on us, you shall, that gets a little difficult because we're not looking at the full life cycle, right? But where we actually have a seat at the table and you can be transparent with us and collaborate with us, and we're now starting to look at a shared outcome or a consistent end-to-end workflow, and the workflow doesn't just start when you issue the work order in Fexa. Like it's your vendors, getting all that information and leveraging that integration back into Fexa. So it's sort of one workflow, not a whole bunch of segmented workflows that we've got to try to mash together. So if we can sit at the table and discuss what that solution is and contribute to that. We've had a lot of success with some of our larger customers, like I say, integrating that so it's a seamless flow of information back and forth. So as you're issuing us a work order, it's an asset-based work order. We have that same asset base in our system. We're fully connected, we're linked. So as we're populating our activities on that asset, then that's flowing back through integration into the Fexas that you have visibility to. So you get that real-time data, but your portfolio of data is real-time and visible in Fexa is the same way it is in our field service management system. So when it's segmented and we're not talking, very difficult to just comply when we understand what your goals are, and we can work with you to sort of build out that workflow and really integrate as one. That's where the power is, like for sure. And we haven't been able to do it with everybody, but there are certain customers that do allow us to have that seat at the table and that level of conversation. And when it happens, it's pretty awesome.
It's one of the biggest. I'll be more direct.
Yep.
Most technicians, because Leslie, you did great. I just, my perspective, I might get in trouble for this, but most contractors despise having to jump into yet another application because they've got this one and 6 other ones depending on the things they have to do. It's our job as technology providers to give you a better experience as the person that actually owns the assets. Yeah. And so that's the intent, I think, of this partnership. I mean, we've done nothing but talk to field service providers for 13 years. And it's like, oh, which one am I at again today? And what's checklist? And as a result, you guys get bad data. Because they give you the minimal viable thing that you asked for, or they don't do it. And it's a huge pain in the butt. And since asset uptime is the goal, there has to be a solution there. So I think we're going to continue to work towards that together. And
touch on really quickly, you mentioned high single digits asset registry, right? Can you just touch on, and maybe Leslie from your perspective, like I think a lot of people believe, oh, well, that's a monster project. It's multi-million dollars to go tag and label all of my assets to build that registration inventory. I think there's a different perspective that I know Aaron has, but like set the record straight, because I hear that from people, which is like, we can't do anything because we have to tag and label our assets.
Yeah.
So to get to the model you're talking about, Mariah, where you want to have a work order tagged with the correct asset is, you know, a year or 2 years away and multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I think there's a different perspective.
Yeah, and I think, Aaron, you can speak a little bit about it too, but for us, I think, again, streamlining, you know, listen, so we win an opportunity, we bid on an opportunity and we win, and you know, we think we've bid on something that you know, has a pretty comprehensive and clear asset list. You know, you could have 30,000 assets that we've built, that we've bid, but you know, then we get out to site the first time, we're like, this is totally not reality. And so, you know, typically what we will do on our first visit, and it's embedded in that first visit, is validate all your assets, right? And yeah, it's really hard before you have sort of technology and AI supporting us and driving sort of consistency in that foundation to do that seamlessly. But we've seen like just huge uptick in being able to do that quickly, you know, incredibly, and our technicians are happier, right? So from a technician's perspective, you know, we used to send them it with manual lists, right? So here's your little workbook. I need you to write down every asset. All that information goes back into the office. We're collating it, you know, fat fingering things. It was terrible. You know, but through XOI, our technicians are able to just go out and honestly, you know, simply take a photo of that rating plate, and it's already extracting all of that information. So they're not writing things down. They're not, you know, transposing digits wrong. We're getting good information real time as they're going through their regular day. So it is literally, you know, something that's embedded into the workflow on every single visit and very quick. And again, like I said, where we may be missing inputs, make, model, serial number, can't read the rating plate very well, you know, the AI kicks in and it enriches that data automatically for us, and it's sort of seamless to the technician, and it's more intuitive for them. Again, they can focus on really what they love, as opposed to writing down, you know, all of the information. So for us, I think the game changer was actually, you know, partnering with XOI and leveraging the AI, so seamless for a technician. And I'm getting, our customers are getting what they need on the back end, but then it's stale as soon as it comes in. So every single work order, every single, you know, visit that we're doing, you know, we're constantly refreshing that data, right? What's the updated condition assessment? You know, what's the updated warranty? And it's not steps in a process. It's a simple click, synthesizing the data behind the scenes, and allows us to sort of have more meaningful convos.
Just if you go, you know, double clicking on the question, if you have, you know, a data plate that is damaged,
Yeah.
incomplete,
Yeah.
okay, or you have a piece of asset that has been there for over 10 years, and we don't have the data on the info.
Yeah.
Can you extrapolate, you know, from OEM databases?
So if we have partial information, we can enrich what we believe the rest of it to be, in addition to putting the right taxonomy behind the equipment subtypes and 80 other data points about that asset and how it came out of the factory. And so it depends how much we have. We also can OCR Sharpie inside of an electrical panel, which there's been quite a few times. You guys are old school wise. Someone's like, oh, I just wrote it inside an electrical panel, just take a picture of it. So what you saw was effectively someone just taking a picture of data plates, and then we can optimize that in the back end. But I would also point to the taxonomy being a problem, because once that's optimized, and then you go, oh, well, you didn't get to these sites, here's an Excel file. Every column is something different than what you just captured. And so we can go look at a subset of those. AI goes, okay, this is probably our assertions. Are we right? And you may go, you're 90% of the way there in our equipment manager, as an example. Yeah. So we can take it from a massive multi-million-dollar thing to, you know, something that is much, much less as a result. So yeah, that's a big part of what we do as well. And our partnership provides. So thank you guys very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.